Hey guys, it is Sunday at 3:30. I'm starting to review. I'm on period 3, and it seems to be the theme that every class submits about 5 or 6 out of the 20 kids. So you guys have been making my weekend much easier because I have a lot less work to go through. But for those that did submit, I'll give you some feedback. This class did really good. You guys had, of what was submitted, I think you had the best turnout so far. I've only gone through 2 periods before you. Red Cedar Market, love this font. Looks great. I don't know what this icon is, but I think it fits. It looks kind of woodsy or leafy or something like that. Um, I think out of the 3, this is your strongest one. Keep going with this. Maybe try keeping red cedar really big like this and try doing maybe market in this font or maybe doing market in a script. Maybe something like, let's see, just from my other class here, I was demoing. They needed more help than you guys do. Maybe you have, let's say you have red cedar, right, as your, in your nice font there, and then maybe you have market in a script. And I don't know how that will look. It might not look good at all, but just to give you some sort of feedback, but definitely go with this one and then play with it from there. And I would shape up this icon, whether it's a leaf or whether it's going to be a tree or something. Work on that, but it looks great. Hannah, this is cool. We're getting there. The strongest of the 3 is this middle one with the KD. I would again think about how I like that it's in this shape. I like that it looks like kind of a diamond. I'm assuming it's a jewelry store or a jewelry company or a jewelry designer. I like the sophisticatedness of this and the simplicity of this. So I would stick with this. And then maybe you have like this KD, right, in this shape. So you have this. Right, you have this and you have the KD there, and then maybe underneath you have KD Diamond. Is that what it's called? Yes. So maybe her name looks like this. Maybe it goes in here. And then you have that KD to use elsewhere. Or maybe it goes like that, and then this becomes just the shape that you use. And this comes next to it. Something like that. So I think the fonts could be more sophisticated, but this is the where you're headed in the middle one is the way to keep following. So keep going with that. Masa Sushi and Grill. I really like this one with the little drawings. I would bring Sushi and Grill up underneath Masa so it's together, and then let these little icons be below it. You might also want to put them into little circles so they're in like little bubbles. Maybe simplify them a little bit more. But out of the 3, this one is your strongest one, just because the font looks kind of sophisticated, and I like the contrast between the uppercase and the lowercase. Maybe the and sign doesn't fit in here. Maybe it's too spaced out. Maybe I like this Sushi and Grill, kind of keeping it together, and maybe make these illustrations smaller. So again, really focus on the type being the big thing. The illustrations are just a little kind of decoration, like a cherry on top, and we don't even always need them. So maybe on your letterhead or your business card, maybe Masa Sushi and Grill is really big, and then maybe these little icons are on the back, or maybe they're a watermark on the paper, something kind of minimal. All right, James, I looked up some dog logos, and I was looking at how we can incorporate the text to be also part of the dog. Remember, we want the text to be much bigger, so not as big as this, but how can we take your dog and have his head here, but have naughty dog going through it like that, right? Or maybe something like this with naughty dog here. So really Google dog logos and see what's out there. You can kind of take any of these kind of icons and just replace your dog in it, right? So it could be like your dog here, and then you have this kind of banner with the naughty dog on there. I like the fonts. It looks very kind of rock and roll-ish. But think about how we can get that image to be smaller, the text to be larger, and how do we get them to work together, right? They have to be working in conjunction with each other. So if we have the image there, maybe we do the 2 lines and we have Naughty Dog in there. Make sure the text is large enough that we can read it and that it's not all about the icon. The icon is always kind of secondary. This is a cool one too. Kind of a hardcore looking branding like that. So there's tons on here to look at, and literally just take the ideas you like and just pop your logo in there and change the fonts to match, or change the size of the fonts to match. You could also do naughty in one font and dog in another, kind of like giving you that two effect like that. So of those, I'd say the top two are your best so far, and then keep going with that. And then lastly, we got Jack. This is, I'm assuming, their current logo, and this is what you've come up with. I like the zip tie concept. I'm seeing it as a zip tie. This zip tie works better than this one because you can see the right, the little ribs there. For plastics, I like the tracking they have in the original. I would track this out like kind of like we did here with diamond, right? So if this was, what's the word? Plastics, right? So we did plastics. And then we had the Leco really big on top of that. To do tracking, it's under character, and then it's the VA with the arrow in between. You can drop down to 200, or you can manually put in up to 1,000, I think. So I could do 800. You can see how wide we can get that. I also really like this part with the kind of the wheel looking thing. I don't know how it relates to plastics. It must in some way, but it looks cool. I think it fits really well. These could each be a different color or a different shade. If we look at the Mobil logo, which is one of the world's most famous logos, right? They changed out one color from blue to red, and that's kind of gives it that offset that makes it interesting to look at. So maybe your O becomes a different color or a different something, right? Something to make it stand out. And then I would just change the font for plastics. Also for the Leco, L-E-C-O, you could also try a font called Bebes. Let's see if we have it here. I think you guys should have it. B-E-B-A-S. And we'll take the tracking back down. And that might give you a cool... Now, I don't like that the O isn't rounded, though. I like your O better because it's circular. Look for a sans serif that is has an O that is a perfect circle, because it's working really well with this one, but not as much with this one. So I like the O being like a circle and not like a tall, skinny. This looks more like a Lego. All right, so I hope that helped you guys, gives you some feedback so you know how to keep working on this. I'll touch base with you again next class. Thanks for listening.